Welcome back to Paper Labyrinths. I'm Nick.
I'm Brendan.
And today we're joined by Chris Kindred, an illustrator, writer, musician, and educator known for their work in video game and tabletop RPGs. Hi, Chris. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. So good to be here today.
I'm so excited to talk to you because you've been doing so many different things for so long. And just somebody that is like, well, you're pulling in inspiration from music and art and RPGs and everything. And yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, a bit of a winding road, but yeah, I don't know. I get really excited to talk about all the things I do because it sounds like it's all intentional. Or rather, it looks like
Right.
it's all intentional on paper, but it's really, at least it started as a way to pay rent and acquiring skills, and then just leaning into the stuff that I didn't hate. Um, but yeah, we can get into that.
I would love to start with what you just said a couple hours ago, which is you played your very best set tonight.
Oh
You
yeah.
played a double set at, tell me the name of the place again.
Yeah, of course.
Wonder.
The first place was called Wonderville, a nice
Right.
little indie barcade over in Brooklyn. And
This
the
place looks
second,
awesome.
yeah, it's really nice. I love the cabinets there. I found a new favorite game. I believe it's either called Foam or Cake, but you press one button and you move a little character along a line, and then there're just a bunch of little objects that can kill you, and you have to dodge that as the line gets more intricate.
Wow.
Okay. This so like a one-dimensional sort
Pretty
of
much.
dodge, platforming-ish sort of thing. I'm trying to picture this without
Like
seeing
you're
it.
on a track.
Okay. What spoke to you about it?
The simplicity, and it's one of those
Oh,
games
okay.
where just one input, and it's one of those games where you're like, dang, I could have made that, but I didn't. So whoever made that is a
Mm.
genius, absolute genius.
So you play, this is a barcade. You played a set there.
Yeah, I played a set there. Part of a party series called Tachycardia. That's Tacky instead of Tachy.
Yeah.
And the theme is that it's all music that plays at over 150 BPM. Because if your heart rate
Oh,
Ooh.
was
okay.
going over 150 BPM, you would be kind of past tachycardia. You'd probably be dead. But
Yeah.
fast music, high energy was
Cool.
the theme of the show there, and I got to knock out a nice little stripped back jungle set.
Nice.
Awesome.
So yeah.
What like what makes it the perfect set for you looking back on it in hindsight or in the moment or whatever? Like
Well,
what clicks in your mind to be like that was it?
okay. I have to elaborate on this because that
Okay.
was the warm up. I said I played a double header.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That
Okay.
was the first set. I think I bombed that set. It went fine, and at a certain level of skill and experience, every set goes fine. But I just couldn't nail the vibe. I
Mm.
opened. It was 8 p.m. and the floor was kind of empty. You know, just people milling about. So one job you have as a DJ is to read the floor, read the energy, and if you're opening, establishing that energy. So I had no clue what vibe to land on because there was nothing kind of coming back to me. And I
Mm.
kind of just played anything in a way that I stressed over for a while until the last 5 minutes I got in the pocket.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's how that went. But my best set was at 1 a.m. And that was at a friend's birthday party held at a bar called Happy Fun Hideaway around the corner. In fact, in Brooklyn, there is a street that's just a row of all the really nice like bars and nightclubs. And I've been rolling with a scene of DJs for the past year, kind of just playing, like knocking out every single club on that strip, and it's been really cool. And I got to play for my friend who is an up and coming DJ named Pedal, and I was going back to back with another friend, Jasmine, and we have a kind of duo we call Cyberbully, and we went back to back, and just for an hour, we're just in the zone, kind of playing three tracks back to back and responding to each other. DJing can be very planned. Like, a lot of DJs will lay out exactly what they're going to play. Some people amass a crate of songs that fit a vibe. And in this case, whenever you're going back to back with someone, you don't know always what that person is going to bring. So every track was a surprise. And so now I'm like, okay, if I have this kind of left field, like ass shaking music, I want to cut through with some like techno to make the effect of like like turn everybody into a hacker in a nightclub, like that kind of movie
Yeah.
scene. And that's more or less what happened. We kind of shaped the floor, and at the end of the set, the host Petal came up to us and said that we took the floor through every stage of a dance floor, meaning we started off high energy because we're coming off a really fast-paced DJ. The floor cleared out a little bit because you can tire people out. You can tire out your dance floor if you keep
Totally.
the energy level high for long enough. And then people started to like come back once they heard the bangers, and then we kept them going, and it was a great time being able to hold a crowd and hold them in their own bodies is kind of why I do this.
That rules. There's like 8 things I wanna go off of with that. But like
Please.
one of the things that immediately jumped out to me is like you were describing, the first set of like putting stuff out there and not getting the feedback. And I was immediately flashing back to all the times that I've been like giving a presentation or doing a pitch or something like that and getting completely stonewalled for one reason or another and just having no idea, like, are they hearing me? Do they hate me? Did they walk into this room and decide to hate me to begin
Am I
with?
invisible completely?
Are you mad at me?
Am I,
Yeah,
Is this
it
a
is. Are you
dream?
mad at me?
am I in hell? Is this hell? And thinking how great that must have felt to like immediately go from that into another set where you were not only doing great, but like actively collaborating with someone where you are putting something out there and then someone else is literally, it's like their job to like pick up what you have done and respond to it in a poetic musical way, and then for you to take that and like turn that into a conversation. I've never thought about doing that kind of collaborative work before. That's got to be really satisfying.
Absolutely. And what makes it even more satisfying and kind of mystifying is that we didn't speak. Jasmine and I
That's
had
even
not had
better.
a
Yeah.
conversation. In fact, let me grab the text. I asked her maybe earlier that afternoon, hey, what's the vibe for tonight? And she just replies, Rachel Dolezal in a K-hole. I'm like, okay, cool. And then during the set, we didn't really we talked before and after, but not during the set at all. It was just
You ever hear a brand new
oh
sentence
yeah.
that was never said
Mm-mm,
before
mm-mm.
in the world until then?
I think I saw Rachel Dolezal on a K-hole on sale on itch.io last week.
Oh, that's coming out.
Yeah.
But yeah, the collaboration is magical.
Yeah, it sounds like a duel in a way, or like a tennis match or something, but it's not. There is no defined victory or anything like that. It's like there's just pure performance. Like you're the only. It's a tennis match where you're judged on how like perfect the return is, less so than like scoring in any way, right?
Right. It's
Which is really
in
exciting.
a way, it's kind of like racquetball, like up against the wall. Like, yeah,
Sure.
the vibe is something's always coming back to you, but
Mhm.
maybe it's a little co-appetitive. I've only ever
Sure.
said
Yeah.
co-opetition and not the other conjugation of it, but yeah.
Co-opetition.
hmm
We're doing it. We're breaking new ground.
That's
Yeah.
exciting. You like forever ago on I think Blue Sky or something tossed off like a comment that like really lodged in my brain, which is like DJing is like deck building in like a card game deck building, which I think is like, oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Hmm.
That's really cool. But I think it's and I definitely I want you to elaborate on that, but I think it's really cool to be like, oh, it's not only just a deck builder. I'm playing someone else who brought their own deck, and now we're like fighting with the tracks we prepared and like our styles or whatever,
Yeah,
I've
which
got to
is
commit
really
Black
fun.
Ice to hack your servers.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it must feel like I love Netrunner because it feels like a hacker, but I think DJing probably feels even more like a hacker than Netrunner ever would,
Mm.
which is
God, they
fun.
wish, right? I wish. Okay, so real quick detour. I really wish William Gibson was in the club. I really wish he was in the club.
Sure.
Like, sure, like rock, and punk absolutely fits cyberpunk, but if he was just there for techno, if he was just there
Yeah,
for what became techno, I'll say. If you
yeah,
ask
Yeah.
any pioneers of techno, they were like, we just call it music. It's just funk, but
yeah,
made with
yeah,
electronic instruments.
yeah, yeah.
But
Mhm.
if he was there, it would have been different. But yeah, DJing is deck building, and I firmly stand by it. It becomes more true the longer I DJ. And I think if I were to break it down kind of mechanically, um, every DJ has a crate. That crate
Mm,
can have different functions, it can look like different things, but what matters is that you have a gig, that gig has a theme, and you can do a good or bad job at doing that by fitting the theme. That's like your win condition, keeping the floor energized and in a way that supports the theme of the party, makes the promoters happy, etc. So you have a clear objective. But to do that, you need to compile songs. So you have to choose your crates wisely, choose the tracks in your crate wisely, and you'll have tracks that serve different functions. Say if you're playing Magic, you have your lands, right? This is going to be maybe an ambient or kind of a rolling track depending on the set. Let's say I'm doing like a standard techno set. I need something that will be the bass line, not literal baseline, but the kind
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
foundation,
Foundation. Yeah.
from which I'll bounce my tracks off of. So I'll pick
Mm,
maybe, let's see, in an hour set, I might have 60 to 80 tracks. That's like my deck size. And
Okay.
maybe I'll have about 10 to 15 tracks dedicated to keeping the rhythm going or keeping the energy locked in a certain place for a certain time. So I got really in the weeds about this once. I'll show you my early crates off the record, but um you'll have your tracks that kind of keep you paced, and then you'll have tracks that you need to deliberately raise the energy. Then you might, if you're kind of a genre blending DJ, you might have tracks that transition into a certain vibe, or tracks from an entirely different genre altogether. And the play is that you have to set these up, but also be responsive. So it's a mixture of staying fixed versus being flexible, and then knowing when to grab the floor and take them with you, and then drop them off and let them take you somewhere.
mhm.
So yeah, and I think now that I'm less neurotic about preparing for my sets, I'll just grab about 70 tracks and be like, okay, these will carry me. These are the bangers, and then I can just bullshit, not bullshit, as in phone it in, but like play some bullshit that will make the crowd kind of,
Improvise.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like when you say neurotic, do you mean like over preparing
Oh yeah, oh
almost?
yeah, over
Okay.
How
preparing.
many
I
spreadsheets are we talking about here?
Not zero. Certainly not
Yeah,
zero.
yeah.
But yeah, I firmly maintain that this is a deck building exercise. And I don't know, curation in general kind of
Sure.
feels like deck building. But yeah, I that's one thing I enjoy about DJing. It's the prep, it's the categorizing files, the organizing, it's the dry stuff before you even get to the party.
That kind of responsiveness of the deck, of being able to not only, you're given an assignment, someone said, hacker, we need you to bring in this many people to the dance floor, and we want this kind of vibe going, that kind of thing. Above and beyond the assignment, being able to read the room and be able to read, like, these people need a jolt, these people need a wind down, these people need to be in charge for a little bit and tell me where they want me to go. That's a whole level of, like, almost community design that I hadn't thought about, where
Absolutely.
DJ is like, what kind of, is that just experiential, like picking that up and figuring out, like, how to do that, or are there things that, like, other DJs have shared that have, like, tapped you into those sorts of things? Like, how do you pick up on that sort of thing?
Honestly, it's one of those things where if you hear a DJ give advice, it won't click until you feel it yourself.
Mm.
And that's one thing I struggled with in the beginning because I want to understand how people see things, but I want to understand how people think about things, and I want to go through someone's thought process with them, and that usually involves them telling, right? But
Hmm.
nah, you don't really pick up those lessons until you clear a dance floor yourself.
Sure.
Until you watch somebody's like reaction just flatten and then they walk away. And
Oh
every DJ
yeah,
Oh
does
yeah,
that.
God.
Nowadays, I laugh it off and it's cool because they don't.
sure.
It's
Yeah.
never personal. It's just like, oh, okay,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
quite
Yeah.
my tempo.
I mean, it reminds me. Maybe this is just reminding me because I've been in like a TTRPG hole for a few months now. But it's the same kind of relationship as whoever a GM is running a game for other people. You're sort of trying to keep the like a rhythm going of the emotional like arcs and beats and so on. Um, but hopefully your friends just like don't no sell you if something goes wrong, or at least
I
my
mean,
friends don't no sell me.
sometimes they can, though. Like,
Sure.
especially,
Oh yeah.
like,
Sure.
playing a game at work or something like that, or heaven forbid, playing a pickup game at, like, a convention or something like that. Sometimes you get an
Yeah.
idea of what it's going to be like, and you sit down and you're like, no, I don't actually want to do this for the next 2 hours.
Yeah, a lot of that is it. And when you're playing, actually, yeah, I'm trying to find a nice segue from DJing into you kind of set it up here like tabletop play, but
Yeah.
Just do it. That's
yeah,
fine.
I don't know. It feels a lot like that, and it's a big reason why I haven't GM'd. I haven't
Oh, okay.
GM'd for my friends. It's I'm nervous. I'm just nervous for the same
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah. It's scary.
The stakes are so much the stakes are so personal. Have you ever tried reading a board game to your friends and then watching them die inside, right? And you're like, oh, we're never touching this
Absolutely.
again.
Yeah.
So very high
And I'm
stakes.
never speaking to you personally
I've
ever again
I've done that
either.
to Brendan, so yeah, of course.
But no, it's one of those things that I kind of just have to get over. But
Sure.
yeah. Also another thing I wanted to bring up, kind of tying DJing to teaching. It
I
was
was going to
very
say,
funny.
yeah.
Yeah, it was very
Yeah.
funny
Reading a
that.
room.
Oh yeah, no,
I'm sorry. I keep
absolutely.
interrupting you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you're good. It is reading a room at all times, and I didn't think the Gen Z stare was a thing. I thought it was just something, like people just talk about until I started teaching in university. And this is kind of informing my objectives as I develop my pedagogy,
Hmm.
is that you really have to keep people engaged. You can't just ask open-ended questions or even questions that are leading enough to sound easy to answer, right?
Sure.
Because you'll just get the Gen Z stare. You'll just get that stare, and it's a tough thing when you kind of have that wall and you kind of can't break through that way. So my whole first semester teaching had was just dealing with that feeling, and I think it was very funny that I was doing that at the same time that I was figuring out a dance floor. So yeah, being able to kind of overcome both of those really helped. I feel like as I became a better DJ, I became a better professor. So
That makes a lot
That
of
makes
sense.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I don't know, the stakes are flipped. Like I don't ever want to bomb in public. Like that is like soul destroying. But with friends, it's like, oh, if we're playing this game and you're not having fun, we can just stop. Like I don't care as much with a friend. So maybe I should never teach, I suppose, because I don't know if I could get over the stare. That would be personally really hard to like. Yeah, I don't know. Try to break through or try to run around and try and reset. Like figuring out like, okay, I'm in charge of this like situation. Y'all are participants, but you're not like equal
Right.
participants. How do I like reset things using the tools that I have with either music or pedagogical tools? And that, I mean, obviously it's a skill, so like whatever, I could like theoretically learn it, but that's like a really big lift.
I think in that moment,
That's I think,
if I may, in that moment, it's
hey,
just whether you are in public performing or trying to command a classroom, and this is something I'm just learning. So I'm definitely speaking to the choir for anyone who has been in education a while listening. But you can activate the students. You can use that power, you can use that authority to activate them in a way that they either wouldn't expect, or in a way that you kind of see that they want to. If they look antsy, if they look jumpy, then or like, kind of dying while you're giving your lecture, then you can find a way to make that more interactive. And I don't know, I've been leaning on some techniques to get them talking to each other. So yeah.
the talking to each other is a good GMing trick as well.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Um, yeah, the less you can talk theoretically, the better the game overall
that's the
is,
goal.
or the less the GM can talk. I mean, specifically.
Absolutely.
Whenever I'm trying to talk to other developers, or rather, whenever I'm trying to tell someone like what a game designer does, um, I tell them like 90% of it is just figuring out how to talk to the other person. Like other designers, particularly, if you think about it in divisions of like system design versus content design or something like that, but also engineers and artists and sound people and UI people and QA people and C-suite. Designers are going to be responsible for talking to so many different people, and so much of that is just figuring out like what are these people. These people. What are the other people interested in? What are they excited about? What are they prioritizing? What is going to excite them to bring to the table about what's going on? And how can you use that as like a gateway into not just like communicating about what it is that's important to you, but building a relationship of some kind so it's easier to do the next time that you have to do that.
Right.
I imagine a lot of it is very, very similar of like figuring out like, oh, this person's really interested in art. This person's really interested in presentation. This person's really interested in like how the thing works, and being able to like shortcut what someone is interested in and how to engage seems like really, really important in that kind of venue.
Yeah, absolutely. This definitely is relevant to client work. Some of my first job in games proper was as a game designer for an educational game studio, and so
Mm,
we had to talk to our clients, or at least like me as a designer, I had to talk to the stakeholders, and our clients were not games people at all. Not
yeah.
even on an investment level. Like my first game was for a nursing school, or like a nursing college, and
Mm,
we were making a game for to build vocabulary skills for their students. And so
Hmm.
mm,
everything we talked about had to have an had to find an entry point through nursing. So we're
Right.
like, okay, if we
sure.
talk about mechanics, if we need to talk about deep, like game design ass stuff, we have to find a way to tie it to nursing in some way.
Hmm. Been there.
Yeah,
Um, yeah.
but the
Uh,
product came out cool.
cool.
That's good. Yeah, it's almost like it becomes a genre. Like I wouldn't say an education games are a genre, but like a nursing game is a genre that is, has like a language, but is like orthogonal to regular games because all the people that are playing it are not playing, you know,
Yeah,
fucking Dark Souls or whatever, right? So it's just completely like on its own branch of expectations and assumptions and I've done some work in the past on like interactive stuff for civil engineering, And it reminds me of that, where it's like, yeah, these are all like everyone here is used to looking at CAD drawings, and you can sort of get them to use arrow keys to move around a space, but they're
Mhm.
not gonna do two stick movement whatsoever. And so to like communicate the ultimate goal using an interactivity layer becomes like completely separated from previous or not previous, from like normal commercial game practices.
Yeah. How did
Yeah,
you? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna ask, how did you find that impacting your design process, if at all?
I don't know if it did that much, because I think my like left alone the things I would design is like so like for game under like literate people, right? Or like you're like way deep into strategy games, so you're gonna come play the shit that I'm making. Um, but I think it did sort of like attune me to like, okay, from like the barest impact of like interface, what is someone like understanding about the system and like what's being surfaced back to them. Like I don't think I'm now like a great designer with like doing like nice, really polished, like really satisfying in a kind of like juice-ish way of design. But I think doing the civil engineering stuff was like, okay, if someone sees this thing happening, that reflects that's like there was an effect in the system, and they can trace that back to the cause, and then like kind of walk that chain back and sort of understand like what is being communicated underneath, in a sense. I don't know if this is coming through at
No,
all, but like
totally.
that like yeah, that like first moment of impact, if someone doesn't know how games work, then you have to like, okay, well, what if they just absolutely don't know anything? They might just think like this random like little doohickey is like way more significant than it really is when it was just like a flourish, or vice versa. And so yeah, I think I got a decent handle at that. I don't know how it has come through now. This was like 15 years ago, so it's it's kind of folded into everything else I've been
I
doing
mean,
since then.
it's an evergreen problem though. And I mean, this is one that I
Yeah,
have, this is one that I even see with my students. This is kind of a core of teaching, right? When you, um,
yeah,
since I'm teaching sophomores, they still have a limited language
Mm.
of game design, of game like the precedents. They have a limited vocabulary in, you know, the things that we talk about, and then the practices and patterns that we kind of use every day. So yeah, it kind of becomes an evergreen issue of translating why things are important that way.
is there a lot of unlearning students from because like I think game like a student that would is interested in doing games has been watching like YouTube game design breakdowns
Mm.
forever, right? How to what degree do you have to be like, okay, like I kind of know where like you're saying some words that like do mean something, but they don't mean what how you're they're not right in the context of what you're saying it, that kind of thing, or what like assumptions do they come in with that need to be sort of reoriented or broken back down before like rebuilt into the right context or right purpose or whatever.
Ironically, I've seen this exact thing you're talking about more in my MFA program, where people come
Mm.
Oh,
in having watched, you know, just to prepare for the program, taking in as
yeah,
much
exactly.
information
Yeah.
as possible. And then they're like, oh, for example, like variance doesn't mean what I thought it meant, or balancing and tuning isn't this thing that someone on YouTube said it was.
Yeah.
What I see in my students now in undergrad is um, less less of YouTube kind of fundamentals and more the games that they want to replicate.
Sure.
Yeah,
That makes sense. Yeah.
and so
That's funny.
yeah,
What's the like hottest things they want to redo
oof.
or replicate right
It's
now?
Last
Balatro.
semester,
Everyone's making Balatro.
I wish.
Is is that
Um,
out? Sorry, is that
Is
like I would assume
Balatro out?
Balatro. I've been hearing about it forever.
highly
Uh,
No
anticipated.
one tell Nick. I've been keeping a secret from
yeah.
Nick.
I was gonna. What I meant to say was, is Balatro already cycled back out of the zeitgeist? Because I
Oof.
assume kids are like way like way ahead of wherever I'm at
Not
on
quite.
new things. Okay.
I recently taught a unit on Slay the Spire, and a
Oh,
lot of my
okay.
students either, there was no in between. They either had not heard of it or they were already
Yeah.
power players. So
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
Balatro is not fully on their radar yet. Also, if you zoom back and
100%.
look at it, look at Balatro as a, say, like 18, 19-year-old, you're probably like, this looks less fun. I don't know. Or like it
Sure.
looks a little drier. But who knows? I'm not
Interesting.
19. I'm not 19 or 20.
No,
So
no.
If only.
yeah.
I think the
Yeah.
last time I got up in front of a bunch of kids to tell them about video games, I told them, God, I think I told them I was a Reaper main in Overwatch, and all of them started jeering and yelling at me.
And they were right.
Throwing tomatoes. Yeah. Chris was there at that. In that
Easy. I was there in the lobby.
That's
That's
right.
I do make it a point to never. Sometimes Overwatch will come up because we talk about shooters and students love.
Sure.
A lot of my students love shooters. I will make it a point to never mention my rank in Overwatch because that
good.
would
Yeah.
make them form a value judgment of me as a person and
Mhm.
instructor.
Oh my gosh.
It was
I
gold.
one of the,
Last.
going back to talking about building games with folks that from outside the gaming world, because I've done a little bit of that same kind of like educational, trying to build, to teach or to communicate a concept. And one of the things that I think I run into a lot in that kind of realm is that a game could be anything. A game could be anything within a genre or its own new genre, or it could be as big or as small as it absolutely needs to be. And one of the difficulties, I think, in figuring out what someone wants to teach versus what they want the product to be at the end is trying to get them to understand, like, look, the world is your oyster. You can figure out, like, depending on budget and depending on tech and stuff like that. Like, if you're giving me Unreal, then obviously I'm going to try and do something that uses Unreal to its best effect. If you give me Godot, then et cetera, et cetera. But figuring out like a way to tell people, like, here's what you want to teach. Here are the different kinds of categories of ways that we could go about it. And what the right combinations of those kinds of things are is always really, really challenging to figure out. Like, what do you, to ask someone that doesn't know what all the things are, what it is that you want is a really interesting problem.
For sure. Whenever I face that, I try to hone in on an intended experience, right? Like, what's the
Right.
series of emotions
Yeah.
that you want to end up with? And we can find the mechanics to get there. But what
Hmm.
kind of time, what kind of night are you trying to have, basically?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. What's your ideal player experience, I guess, like in
Yeah.
terms of like, do you want them to come out of this feeling like they went on a journey, that kind of thing?
Right, exactly. And I
Yeah.
try to instill that in my students too, in their assignments, and also just in myself. I feel like I'm coming back into an active practice as a game designer, and so I'm
Mm.
thinking about that a lot right now.
Cool. What kind of player experiences do you want to see in the world?
Oh, geez. Right now I'm
Or
thinking
here,
about.
I'll buy you 30 seconds of time because I found a trailer for Cakefoot.
Oh,
It looks
oh, there we go.
delightful.
Oh
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
okay,
yeah.
good.
This is the arcade game. You're just this
Oh,
little,
I see.
yeah, you're a little
Okay.
cake with feet.
You're a little guy. No. This music is so pleasant right now.
Gotta love
Are
it.
these bees? Are you gonna get?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you haven't seen the fire yet.
I have not seen the fire. If you're listening to this,
No.
look up Gamefoot, all one word, game trailer, and you'll see what I'm looking at.
Cake
Gamefoot?
foot.
Cakefoot.
Gamefoot.
Did I say Gamefoot?
You said
You said
Gamefoot.
Gamefoot.
Gamefoot different.
Gamefoot. Don't
Do
look up
not
Gamefoot,
look up
Gamefoot.
listener.
God.
That
Yeah.
is, you're not gonna get
That's my
Yeah.
new
a silly little cake.
that's my new game streaming service.
Great, great.
You know, it's not the worst name for a game
It's
streaming
not.
service. As we
I can't get it here in Florida because I refuse to do age verification. I can't go on Gamefoot.
Yeah. But Oh shoot, what was the question?
The question was, what kind
Busy
of
thinking about feet.
player experiences? What kind of player experiences do you want to see with your games?
Yeah, if I'm making, say, a tabletop game, then I want my players to, God, this sounds so heady or so nebulous, whichever one.
This is the place for it.
Yeah,
I was gonna say there's not a place here.
I want my players to feel like how I feel when I leave the club on a good night,
Okay,
Sure.
which
Yeah.
is
sure.
light, kind of with a sense of exiting an adventure and leaving a space that can never exist again.
Yeah,
Kind of
Mm,
like living
leaving a
in,
moment or
yeah,
something.
exactly. Like living in, stepping into an alternate reality and then stepping out and then thinking about, who you are, having changed after leaving. Um,
cool.
that's what I'm
That sounds
interested in
great. I
right
get
now.
that with movies a lot in a movie theater where you walk out, you're like, oh, it's the same. It's like this exact same world I saw 2 hours ago, but I just watched
What
whatever.
was the
And
last movie that made you feel that way?
oh my god, I don't know. What was the last movie I saw? I think the last movie I saw in a theater was Sinners, and
Mm,
definitely had that. And I honestly before that, I don't go to the theater all that often, to
yeah,
be
about the
honest.
same. Not since COVID.
Yeah.
I think the last movie that like really knocked me over was The Fall,
Mm.
and I don't know if I'll be able to shut up
My
about it
dark secret is that
forever.
I've never seen The Fall, but I feel
You should watch
like
The Fall.
I should
You
watch The
should watch The
Fall for
Fall.
the love of
You
God.
should probably watch it. Yeah, I
You
heard
should
for
put it
like
on
five
right
years
now.
people being like, "You should watch The Fall," and I'm like, "All right, yeah, I'll get to it." And they're like, "It's the best visual movie ever made." I'm like, "All right, sure." And now I've seen it. I'm like, it might be the prettiest movie I've ever
Mm.
ever made.
I've been seeing the
Yeah,
gift sets on Tumblr since 2012. I have no excuse.
Here's
that's
the
right. Yeah,
thing. I went into it thinking like, all right, I kind of get it. I've been on Tumblr. I understand. No, it's even better. It's like it can't. It's the. This is just a fall fan
Mm.
podcast now. It's just
Does
like
it might.
Okay.
Yeah, this might secretly now be a fall
Welcome to the
the
fan.
Fall
the way
Cast.
the way that it puts all
Yeah,
yeah the way that it puts all those things together. I was not ready for. It's really really good. I think
Okay.
Green Knight was probably the thing that knocked me on my
oh,
feet
that's good.
Yeah,
last.
the Giants, when the Giants appeared.
Oh
The
yeah,
Giants are good.
the end is good when it's like the montage of the rest of his life. Yeah,
Yeah.
See, I think a lot about, and this is funny because this kind of ties into what you just said, Chris, where he's in the castle and Josh Edgerton is asking him about this quest that he's on, and he says, "So you do this thing, and you're completely changed forever. You're a brand new person, full of virtue and goodness." And Dev Patel just completely, without any guile whatsoever, says, "Yes." And Josh Edgerton is like, "Wow, that's amazing. Good for you, I guess."
Straightforward,
if
pretty
only it was
simple.
that easy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Agreed.
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
No,
yeah.
I want my players to feel a little melancholy. Like I don't want the
Okay.
I don't want the like, you return virtuously. I want to be like, damn, why can't I have that moment all the time?
Right, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. That was,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, that changed me as a person, but now it is no longer changing me.
I'm gonna be
Really,
chasing this
like,
forever now.
Right.
yeah, it's like exactly reflective and future looking of like that would just happened, but it's no longer happening, and that the feeling is also only right there because soon it'll just be all in the past
Hmm.
and not like halfway in the present.
This is a funny half thread I want to take us on, but
Yeah.
like I said, I'm a new DJ, which means that comes with a new hyperfixation on just like learning more shit about electronic music in general.
Hmm.
And I don't know, because I'm also a theory head. I someone made a really good video about how burial um kind of goes hand in hand with Mark Fisher and the idea of hauntology. How burial is fundamentally hauntological electronic music because it sounds like just what I said actually. It sounds like and is made to sound like coming home from the club on a rainy night, walking through the streets,
Mm.
wishing you could have that moment. Which now I'm realizing I want to be the burial of game designers. We'll get to that, but Yeah.
Hit pause really quick. Tell the listeners. Tell the listeners who Burial is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've never heard of Burial
Yeah.
myself, so
Yeah.
Because
Burial
I know what you're
is
talking about, but Nick doesn't.
I don't.
Yeah.
Burial is a British producer. I want to say, I think he came out in 2005. Really known for a dark, two-step garage sound, usually made of found sound and really precise arrangement. And when I say
Okay.
precise, I mean it's like precisely messy. Um,
Mm.
Right.
I can't describe this further without sounding really dreamy, but that's exactly what the music sounds like. It sounds like it sounds like the concept of hauntology, but it's like post
Okay.
two-step garage.
Cool.
But yeah,
And you what and when you say you want to be this for game design, how does even you can sound as dreamy and vague as you want to be. What does that mean in your mind?
definitely a focus on embodiment. Like I mentioned, a focus on creating a feeling. And I think now that I'm thinking about this analogy, using the things around the player and around the world. So that might involve objects at one's reach, that might involve things
Mm,
that might feel mundane. If I don't know, like this is
yeah.
this is a new thought that's happening in real time, so that's cool.
Yeah, no, that's
Go
great.
rules.
No, the embodiment thing, I feel like I'm seeing more tabletop games that are like, there's like, oh, you have like props and that's fine. But then I feel like we're pushing beyond that to like, no, you're in like a space. You've got
You're in the world.
um you're in the world. You have a body even though you're playing an analog game which just is like a co-imagination, but no, actually your body is now like being wrapped back into that. And it's also a little larping and like a little war games and a little like immersive theater. It's like delightfully in between these like poles of game design. That's like just exciting,
Absolutely.
and fun.
Last night I was speaking with good friend Patrick Tren, who is professor at NYU Game Center, and we were just talking about how we want game studies to be more embodied, right? To
Mm.
like maybe it will be healthy if game studies leaned into auto theory, into experience-based research. And I don't know, this kind of only loosely ties to what we were talking about, but it's funny that this is on our minds right now. Like
Yeah.
it's about living.
As someone who's deep in the industry and thinks and listens to a lot of game studies stuff, I find myself really yearning for a lot more collaboration between the different disciplines because I think that interest really is there. And you can see sometimes those two things intersecting, usually around a particular book or a particular project or a particular series of interviews going on. But like just deeper awareness between disciplines and more regular conversation, I think would be only beneficial.
Yeah. Leaving the library, leaving the house,
Yeah,
not even going to the
Right.
club, just like being around people.
Yeah.
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 I mean, you
But
have to find
and
that melancholy somewhere,
right,
so
right.
it's rarely inside.
And I think, on the flip side, from the developer standpoint of realizing like, no, other people like really think about this stuff really deeply. And it's not like we're not the only custodians of what it means to make a thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's,
I just finished reading a book called "Playing with Feelings" by Aubrey Annabelle, I think, which is about affect theory in games. And there's a whole chapter of like, what does it mean to touch a game, right? Like, both in like a touch screen game,
Hmm.
but also. And this video game specifically, right? But it was like, no, there are some games where like, no, you need to be touching a thing to like really understand the like system underneath it. And like, man, I just want a whole book about that chapter specifically because it was so like, yeah, there's like cybernetic, feedback and that all that kind of stuff. And maybe I guess I should be clear. There probably is a book about this, and I just haven't heard it or heard about it or read it because there's a lot of books I don't know about. But yeah, that embodiment of like playing a game on an arcade cabinet. Like before we started recording, we were talking about um, playing Nightmare Kart on an arcade cabinet. And I've played Nightmare Kart just at my home, kind of noodling around, but next to someone touching their arm while we're touching the controls and feeling the heat and the motion is more intoxicating and like exhilarating than the game, even though the game is exactly the same, right?
Yeah. Shoot, I'll just add a quick anecdote. Like nothing hits like playing Nightmare Kart while the music is absolutely overstimulating you. Again, like you said, you have the
Yeah.
heat, bodies pushing past you, and then the cabinet's falling apart, but it's also responding to your movements. It's great. It's the
Yeah.
way Nightmare Kart should be played, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, if you're not breaking the thing that's running Nightmare Kart, it is not true Nightmare Kart.
More
I mean
games should
that's
be played to be broken. Anyway, I just wanted to put that out
Yeah,
there.
it's
yeah,
true. Yeah.
that's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
part of the ritual to bring Yarnum into the waking world, obviously.
We can only hope.
Yeah,
Give me legally distinct Yarnum, of
yeah, legally
course.
distinct Yarnum. Do not engage. Do not engage. I was thinking about what you were saying about like producing this feeling of a player feeling like something has happened and that melancholy of that moment is past. This feeling of there are different futures, but those futures are not to be. That kind of hauntological kind of impulse. I was thinking about how much I treasure now these games that have a definitive start, middle, and end
Yeah.
that are made to be played and then finished and then moved on from, as opposed to something that is built to be a forever game that you play over and over and over again, or that very deliberately has like the mystery box thing of like there is nothing inside but another mystery box for you to keep
Mm.
unspooling over and over and over again.
I just finished one of those. It was Cairn,
Mm.
very recent game,
Oh,
very
okay.
recent release
I
by the
can't wait
Game
to play
Bakers.
Karen. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. I have I already wrote a think piece on it. I just never published it.
Do it. You
But
should. You
it's
should.
Well, you got to send it to us at least,
yeah,
Yeah,
then
yeah,
if
I
you
yeah.
don't
tried.
publish it.
But it's one of those games, I'll tell you, no spoilers. It's one of those games where you can finish it and then uninstall it immediately and feel
Hmm.
resolved in a good way.
Yeah,
Cool.
that's fun.
Let's see.
Yeah, I usually do gravitate to like, I guess, roughly, very, very roughly speaking, like strategy games, which have that sort of like, well, I'm gonna restart this at some point. Like when I play Crusader Kings, it's not the last time I'll be playing it. It's like the last time for 6 months or
Yeah.
something that I'll be playing it. And I think that my head is very much in that like fiddling with the systemic dials to see what tickles my brain and what creates like a fun story. And I guess I rarely do go, not rarely, I'm sure I do often enough, but it's not like where my brain goes to naturally of like, no, 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 this has a start and a center point and an end point, and then you just uninstall it. Um, I think the one that hit me the most of that was probably Immortality,
Hmm.
where my partner and I played that and we finished it. We're like, damn, I don't ever need to play that again. That was basically perfect, and I loved it. And I still think about it constantly, and I'm still like turning over, like I'm still playing the game, like thematically trying to figure out, like, oh, maybe maybe this is actually linked to that in a very roundabout way. Um, but that's the same as what I would do with The Fall or any other movie
Yeah.
that I
Sure.
really liked or really engaged with.
That's becoming I recently wrapped a playthrough with my partner of Divinity Original Sin 2, and I feel that
Oh, fun.
game becoming that for me. Yeah,
Really?
we've just finished the game, but I'm already like on my next save because I want to pick apart those systems. And also Sin
Yeah.
7 isn't hitting for me, so
Many
I
such
loved
cases.
Original Sin too.
I need to try
I
that
never
sometime.
finished it. Yeah, we never finished it because I was playing with a friend and we were playing co-op. But we were playing like just virtually, and so it was like became a scheduling
that makes
kind of
sense.
headache to be like, great, do we want 4 hours every Saturday to push to this increasingly longer and longer Act Five or wherever
And
where
that's
we
being
are in this
gentle,
game?
and 4 hours is generous. My partner knocked out maybe
Yeah,
12 hours the first day.
And 4 hours is like one combat, and I love the combat, but it's like it's a lot. And then Baldur's Gate 3 didn't hit for me, and I was like, damn, I wish I could
I
have
get
more
it. The kind of
money. I'm getting there. So.
marvelization.
Yeah, just like the D&D, like like, well, what if you made combat worse and the character is a little goofier? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't know if I
Sure.
like that, to be honest. But that's me. So
I've got one more question to ask you, which is something that I wanted to tap into in terms of like someone who cares about music, who cares about live music, who cares about people in music. Where should people go to find new music? Because this is something we were talking a lot with Meredith last month about. Like, we live in a dark time for the playlist, right? We live in a time
Yeah.
where the robots are coming to invent songs to put in front of us. Where do you go to find new music? Where would you push people to in order to find new music?
Yeah, I kind of have three tiers of answer here.
Please.
In physical space, go to a record store. Go to a record store,
mm,
talk to the person there. They'll put you on. Just give them this was the first algorithm.
Right.
Talk to a
yeah,
record store, be like, hey, I'm looking for this kind of vibe. They'll see what they have, and then it might fit, it might not. You might move on. It's cool. But you
and that's honestly
started.
the best algorithm for anything.
Yeah,
Like, I 90% of my games are like someone was like, "Hey Nick, this is weird. You would like it. Great." That's the best way, I
exactly.
think.
I'll also say if you are looking for new music, go to a set, see that performer live. If you can't make it, please go to YouTube or find the set on SoundCloud or like get access to the curation, right? Like a DJ isn't just playing for their health, they're playing to show you new music. So
Hmm.
look for track lists. And if those track lists
Mm,
don't exist, you can usually just leave a comment or send a message to that DJ, and they'll give you the ID. There's a really um, broadening culture of sharing music in response to the kind of oppression of the algorithm. So
yeah,
DJs are becoming more excited to share the things that we're digging up. So go to a DJ set and then ask around, and then you'll get some recs that way. And then finally, Bandcamp, Bandcamp,
yeah.
Bandcamp
it's
good.
cool. Yeah,
Bandcamp's good.
absolutely. Get all the plugins. Fuck it. Get all the plugins, and you'll have a great time.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for coming and chatting with
Yeah,
us.
thank you for having me. It means a lot.
Thank you.